Picture this. Sunday morning. You're on the couch with your wife. Coffee's hot. The house is quiet. Sun's coming through the blinds. You put your arm around her. Not a big move, just your arm, across her shoulders, the way you've done 1,000 times. She doesn't look up from her phone. She shifts away from you like you're a stranger on a bus and says, "Your constant need to touch me feels like emotional pressure. Can you just not?" You pull your arm back. She keeps scrolling. You sit there, 3 inches apart, watching her double tap a reel of some husband surprising his wife with John Mayer tickets. She smiles at the screen. Hasn't smiled at you like that in months. That was my couch. My wife. My Sunday morning. My name is Bo James. And that moment, her flinching from my arm like it burned, that's not when the marriage ended. That's when I finally noticed it was already over. We'd been married 11 years. Met in Dayton, Ohio, at a networking event I didn't want to attend. Stacy laughed at something I said about the punch bowl, and I remember thinking, this woman sees me. Really sees me. I ran a small IT consulting firm, nothing glamorous, but it paid the mortgage and then some. She worked in marketing, climbing her way up. We were a team. I handled the quiet stuff. She handled the loud stuff. It worked. Then my business went under. 6 months of clients leaving, contracts drying up, bills stacking. I filed for bankruptcy on a Tuesday and came home to tell her. She was in the kitchen, pouring wine. I said, "I filed today. The business is done." She set the glass down. Looked at me. "I saw this coming," she said. "Everyone did." Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "We'll figure it out." Just, "Everyone saw it but you." That was 3 months ago. Since then, something shifted. Not sudden, gradual, like a faucet someone turned just enough that you don't hear the drip until the sink overflows. She got promoted to marketing director. New confidence. New clothes. New opinions about what a husband should look like. Most of them sourced from Instagram and her co-worker Jasmine Williams, who had a way of turning every conversation into a referendum on whether Stacy had settled. And then there was Taylor Adams. Taylor lived 2 houses down. Nice enough guy, always offering to help. Fixed our porch light when I was buried in paperwork. Carried groceries in when Stacy's hands were full. The kind of neighbor people call a good one. Stacy started telling him things. How the bankruptcy stressed her out. How the house felt heavy. Things she used to tell me, back when she believed I could carry them. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. That's the thing about me, I notice everything. I just process it quietly. Stacy used to call it my superpower. Then she started calling it my problem. Here's where it turns. Thursday evening. I'm in the hallway, heading to grab my jacket. Stacy's in the bedroom, phone on speaker, talking to Jasmine. I hear Jasmine say something about Taylor and Stacy laughs, this bright, easy laugh, and says, "Taylor actually listens when I talk. Oh, just exists in the house." Exists. I stand there with my hand on the jacket hook. 11 years. A bankruptcy. 2 a.m. Conversations where I held her while she cried about her mother. The vacation I planned to Hilton Head because she mentioned it once, 3 months earlier, and I remembered. And I just exist. Jasmine says, "Girl, you've outgrown him." It happens. Stacy doesn't argue. I take the jacket off the hook. Walk out the back door. Sit on the porch step. The air is cold, mid-March in Ohio, still biting. I can hear her laughing through the window. Same laugh she used to say for me. Stay with me here, because the next few weeks, that's when I started paying attention to things I'd been too tired to see. The following Saturday, Taylor shows up at our door. He's got 2 tickets to John Mayer. Says he won them at work. "You should go," he tells Stacy, right in front of me. "You've been stressed. You deserve a night out." She looks at me. I look at the tickets. I wait for her to say, "We should go together," or, "Thanks, but Bo and I have plans." She doesn't say either of those things. "That's really sweet, Taylor," she says. "Let me check my schedule." She goes. I find out from our neighbor Kevin Wallace at the St. Patrick's Day block party the following weekend. Kevin mentions it casually. Saw Stacy and Taylor heading out last Saturday. Looked like they were having fun. He doesn't know what he just told me. I keep my face still. Nod. Take a sip of my drink. At that same party, Stacy introduces me to a group of neighbors I've never met. "This is my husband, Bo," she says. "He's between things right now." Between things. Like I'm a season she's waiting to end. Taylor's standing behind her. His hand on her lower back. She doesn't move. Doesn't step away. Doesn't even seem to notice. Or maybe she does notice, and that's worse. I go home early. Sit in the kitchen. The St. Patrick's Day parade coverage is playing on the TV in the other room. Crowds and marching bands. Green everywhere. I open her laptop to check something mundane. Her browser's still open. Apartment listings. 1 bedrooms in Dayton, all within her salary range. She's pricing out my exit. You know that feeling when you realize the person you married isn't the person standing in front of you? It doesn't hit all at once. It's more like the picture comes into focus slowly, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. A couple of nights later, we're at dinner. Just the two of us. She's picking at her salad, and out of nowhere she says, maybe the bankruptcy is a sign that you're not built for this. Any of this. I set my fork down. Any of this meaning what? This. She gestures between us. The house. The lifestyle. All of it. The lifestyle of eating dinner with your husband? She sighs like I'm exhausting her. You know what I mean, Bo? I had a vision for our life. This isn't it. And Taylor, is he more the vision? Her eyes go sharp. Don't do that. He's a friend. Friends don't put their hand on your back at parties. You're being paranoid. This is exactly what Jasmine said you'd do. Make it about some other guy instead of looking at yourself. There it is. Jasmine's script, word for word. I almost say something. Almost push it. But I've learned something about Stacy in 11 years. When she's cornered, she doesn't retreat. She attacks. And right now, I don't have the energy for a war I'm going to lose. So I pick up my fork. Okay, I say. Just that. She stares at me for a long time. I think she expected a fight. The silence unsettles her more. The next morning, she's on the phone in the driveway. I'm pouring coffee by the window, and I can see her through the glass, pacing, smiling, tucking hair behind her ear. That gesture. She used to do that on our first dates when she was nervous and happy. Now she's doing it for someone on the other end of a call she doesn't want me to hear. She comes inside. Who was that? I ask. Stephanie from work, she says. Quick. Smooth. I know all Stacy's coworkers. There's no Stephanie. That same week, she starts going to the gym in the evening, something she's never done. Comes back at 9:30. Hair wet. New energy. Doesn't mention it. I don't ask. But I start noticing the patterns. Gym nights always follow a day when Taylor was around. Like she needs to burn off the guilt. Or the excitement. I'm not sure which one is worse. Saturday. She goes to brunch with Jasmine. Comes back in a mood I can only describe as rehearsed, like she practiced her lines in the car. Walks in, sets her purse down, and says, Bo, I've been thinking. Maybe you should talk to someone. A therapist. For the bankruptcy stress. The bankruptcy stress. You've been withdrawn. It's affecting us. Us. Yes. Us. I look at her. She holds my gaze. Her face is perfectly composed. Concerned wife. Worried about her husband's mental health. And I realize something that makes my stomach drop. She's not setting me up for therapy. She's setting up a narrative. The story she'll tell later, to friends, to Jasmine, to a judge if it comes to that, is that I fell apart after the bankruptcy, and she tried to help, and he just wouldn't get better. She's building her case, and she doesn't even know I can see the blueprints. I'll think about it, I say. She nods. Satisfied. Goes upstairs. Here's where it almost got me. Where she almost won. Then something happens that almost breaks me. Saturday morning. I'm making coffee. She walks into the kitchen wearing my old college sweatshirt, the one she hasn't touched in 2 years. She pours herself a cup, leans against the counter, and says, I miss us, Bo. The way we used to talk. My chest tightens. Because she sounds real. Not performing, not testing, just honest and sad. And for a second, I'm back in that networking event, watching her laugh at my dumb joke about the punch bowl. I miss that too, I say. She steps closer, puts her hand on my arm. Maybe we could try? Like really try. Couples therapy. Whatever it takes. I look at her hand on my arm. The same arm she called emotional pressure. Okay, I say. Let's try. That week feels different. She texts me during lunch, a photo of a sandwich she ordered, nothing special, but she hasn't sent me a photo in months. She asks about my day. Sits next to me on the couch. The pillow wall that's been between us in bed. Neither of us ever mentioned it, but it was there every night. This absurd wall of cushions down the middle like a border neither side would acknowledge. She moves it one night. Just picks up the pillows and tosses them on the floor. I want to believe it. I almost do. Then Friday. I come home early. Her car's in the driveway. Taylor's truck is parked across the street. I walk in through the back door. They're in the kitchen, Not touching, nothing like that, but she's leaning against the counter, laughing, holding a glass of wine. The same counter she leaned against when she told me she missed us. Taylor sees me first. Hey, Bo. Just dropped off some tools Stacy asked about for the deck. Tools, I say. For the deck, Stacy repeats. We don't have a deck. Taylor leaves. Stacy doesn't explain, doesn't apologize. She never does. That's her pattern. When she's clearly wrong, she goes silent or turns it around. You're making this into something, she says 10 minutes later. He's a neighbor, Bo. I know exactly what he is. She crosses her arms. What's that supposed to mean? It means I have eyes. She shakes her head, walks upstairs. Conversation over. Her rules. Always her rules. But here's what gets me. The next morning, the morning after I catch Taylor in our kitchen, after the deck lie, after she walks away like I'm the unreasonable one, I go downstairs, and there's a note on the counter. Her handwriting. Made you breakfast. Plate in the microwave. Scrambled eggs. Toast. The way I like it, with the butter on while it's still hot, so it melts into the bread. She hasn't made me breakfast in 6 months. And there's something so specific about the butter, she remembered, that I stand there holding the plate, and I feel this crack open in my chest. Maybe she's trying. Maybe the Taylor thing really is nothing. Maybe I'm the one who's broken, and she's the one reaching. I eat the breakfast. It's good. That afternoon, I check the joint account on my phone. Another transfer. $300, moved to her personal account. Same day, she made me eggs. The butter was still warm when she moved the money. Gym locker room. The next morning, I'm sitting on the bench. Shoes untied. 20 minutes. Can't stand up. My hands are just resting on my knees, and I'm staring at the tile floor, and I can't make myself move. Some guy walks past, looks at me, keeps walking. I don't blame him. That's when something shifts. Not anger, something quieter. Like a door closing in a room nobody's in. I call my friend Randy Daniels that afternoon. Randy and I go back to college. He's the kind of friend who doesn't ask how you're doing. He watches how you're doing and says something when the answer scares him. I haven't talked to him in weeks. You sound different, he says. I am different. He's quiet for a moment. You need a name? What kind of name? The kind that charges by the hour and asks for documents. Randy gives me Scott Morris's number. Divorce attorney. Methodical. Quiet. My kind of lawyer. I call him Monday morning. Here's the thing about being the quiet type. People mistake your silence for weakness. They think because you're not reacting, you're not tracking. But I've been tracking everything. The apartment listings in her browser. The savings account she quietly redirected, small transfers, nothing obvious. But I spent years running numbers for a living. The timeline of Taylor's visits. The pattern of her warmth. Bright when she wanted something, cold when she didn't. Scott tells me to document. So I document. Not frantically, not obsessively, just methodically. Screenshots. Dates. The financial trail. I don't change my behavior. I don't confront her. I just watch. And then I stop. I stop texting her first. I stop reaching across the bed. I stop asking about her day. The pillow wall goes back up. She puts it there one night, and I don't move it. I stop trying. Not because I read some playbook. Not because Scott told me to. I'm just empty. I've been reaching for someone who flinches at my hand for months. I ran out of reach. Day 4, she doesn't notice. Day 9, she mentions I seem distracted. Day 18, she finally says something real. We're eating dinner, some leftover pasta, the TV murmuring about snowstorms hitting Minnesota. She puts her hand on my shoulder. Bo, are you okay? You've been really quiet. I look at her hand. I've always been quiet. You said I just exist in the house, remember? She pulls her hand back. I didn't. When did I say that? To Jasmine. On speaker. I was in the hallway. The color leaves her face. She opens her mouth. Closes it. Opens it again. I was venting. I didn't mean, you laughed, I say. You both did. She goes silent. And for the first time, she looks at me like she's not sure who I am. Not the Bo who reaches. Not the Bo who tries. Something else. She tests me over the next few days. Sunday morning, she sits next to me on the couch, same spot, and puts her hand on my knee. I look at it. Don't move it. Don't respond. Bo, talk to me. About what? About anything. You haven't said more than 10 words today. I used to say plenty. You told Jasmine it felt like existing in the same room as furniture. She pulls her hand back like I slapped it. You're going to hold that over me forever? I'm not holding anything. I'm just not pretending I didn't hear it. Tuesday, she brings me coffee. Sets it on the desk where I'm going through job listings on my laptop. Her hand lingers on my shoulder. I keep scrolling. I made it the way you like, she says. Extra cream. Thanks. I don't look up. She stands there for 10 seconds, then walks away. I hear her exhale from the hallway, this shaky, frustrated sound, like she's trying not to cry or trying not to scream, and she can't decide which. Thursday, she comes home from work with a bag from that Italian place we used to go on date nights. Sets it on the counter. I thought we could eat together, like we used to. I look at the bag. Look at her. She's wearing the earrings I gave her 3 anniversaries ago. The ones she stopped wearing when she decided everything about our life was a disappointment. Okay, I say. We eat. She talks about her day, a campaign that's doing well, a client who complimented her pitch. Normal stuff. Almost warm. And for 20 minutes, it feels like we're having dinner the way we did in year 3. Easy. Connected. Then her phone buzzes. She glances at it. Doesn't pick up. But I see the name on the screen before she flips it over. Taylor. She doesn't mention it. Neither do I. You're punishing me, she says later that night. I'm not punishing you. I'm just not performing anymore. What does that mean? It means I'm tired of reaching for someone who calls it pressure. She stares at me. I see it in her eyes. Not guilt. Not yet. Fear. Because anger she can handle. Silence she can wait out. But a man who simply stopped wanting to try, that's a door she doesn't have a key for. The next 2 weeks are the quietest our house has ever been. She tries different approaches. One day she's warm, makes my favorite dinner, asks about a book I'm reading. The next day she's sharp, snaps about dishes in the sink, then goes cold when I don't engage. Then she cries. Real tears, behind the bathroom door, thinking I can't hear. I hear. And part of me wants to knock. Part of me wants to hold her and say we can fix this. But I remember the apartment listings. The redirected savings. The tools for a deck we don't have. She wasn't crying because she missed me. She was crying because her plan was running out of runway. Tuesday afternoon. I'm at the public library. Quiet section, back corner. I've got a book open, haven't turned a page in 40 minutes. I'm not reading. I'm just breathing. This is my place now, the only room in the world where nobody needs anything from me. I think about 11 years. The house we painted together, that weekend where we got more paint on each other than the walls. The way she used to fall asleep reading on the couch, and I'd carry the book to the nightstand so she wouldn't lose her page. I love that woman. I'm not sure she's the same woman sleeping behind a wall of pillows. I didn't stop loving her. I stopped believing she wanted to be loved by me. There's a difference. Scott calls that evening. Everything's ready, he says. Whenever you are. Thursday, I say. File Thursday. Wednesday night. Pillow wall between us. She rolls toward my side, not past the pillows, but close. Bo. Yeah. Are we okay? I stare at the ceiling. No, Stacy. We're not. She doesn't say anything else. Neither do I. In the morning, I get dressed, drive to Scott's office, and sign the papers. Now here's what Stacy didn't know. For 3 weeks, while she thought I was falling apart, sitting quiet, barely talking, disappearing to the library, I was meeting with Scott Morris. Not about the bankruptcy. About us. About what she'd been doing to our finances. About the 1-bedroom apartments. About the savings she'd been moving. About Taylor, and what his presence meant for the case. She thought I was broken. Mourning. Too paralyzed to act. That's the thing about being quiet. People fill your silence with whatever story makes them comfortable. Stacy's story was that I was too weak to leave. The truth was I'd already left. I was just building the paperwork. Scott assembled everything. Browser history. Financial records. The apartment listings with timestamps. The joint account statements showing her transfers. My documentation of every conversation, every pattern, every shift. Organized. Timestamped. Friday evening. I'm in the kitchen pouring coffee. Stacy walks in with a look I haven't seen in a long time. Uncertain, almost young. I think we need to talk, she says. I've been unfair. I know that. The things I said, the emotional pressure comment, the bankruptcy thing, I was scared, Bo. I was scared and I took it out on you. She's standing where she stood when she told me I wasn't built for this. Same counter. Same kitchen. Different words. I want to try, she says. Real therapy. Real work. I'll set boundaries with Taylor. I'll talk to Jasmine. I just need you to tell me it's not too late. I set my coffee down. Look at her. I filed Thursday. You'll get the papers Monday. The silence in that kitchen has a weight you can feel in your chest. She stares at me. Her mouth opens. Nothing comes out. You what? Scott Morris. Divorce attorney. We've been meeting for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. While you were looking at one-bedroom apartments. While you were moving money out of our joint account. I keep my voice level. Yeah, 3 weeks. She grabs the counter. How do you know about? I know about all of it, Stacy. The listings. The savings. Taylor. Jasmine coaching you through your exit while you stood right here and told me you wanted to try. That's not. I wasn't leaving. I was just exploring your options. Her face crumbles. Not the controlled tears she uses when we argue. Something rawer. Frightened. Bo, please. I made mistakes. But I love you. You called my touch emotional pressure. You told your friend I just exist in the house. You priced out apartments while we slept 3 feet apart with pillows between us. I pause. I'm a real person, Stacy. Not a highlight reel you swipe past. You can't double tap when it's convenient and scroll away when it's not. She switches. I watch it happen in real time. The tears dry, the jaw sets, and suddenly she's the Stacy from the dinner table, the one who told me I wasn't built for this. Fine. You want to throw away 11 years because I vented to a friend? Because I looked at some apartments during the worst year of our marriage? You're really going to stand there and act like you were perfect? I never said I was perfect. You stopped trying, Bo. You stopped talking. You disappeared into that library like a ghost. And now you're blaming me for looking elsewhere for basic human conversation? You stopped wanting my conversation. You said it yourself, I just exist. I was frustrated. People say things when they're frustrated. People say things they mean when they think nobody's listening. That's the part one keep coming back to, Stacy. Not the cruelty, the honesty of it. You were honest with Jasmine. You were performing with me. That stops her. The anger drains. What's left is something smaller, quieter, frightened, and very young. Her voice cracks. I didn't know how to talk to you anymore. After the bankruptcy, you shut down, and I didn't know how to reach you. And Taylor was just there. He listened. I know that's not an excuse. It's not. But it's the truth. And I'm telling you the truth now. Doesn't that count? It counts. But it comes 11 months too late. She's crying again. Real tears this time. No performance, no tactics. Just a woman standing in her kitchen realizing the future she assumed she'd have time to fix just ran out of time. What about 11 years? Doesn't that mean anything? It means everything. That's why it took me 3 weeks to file instead of 3 minutes. She reaches for my arm. I don't pull away. I look at her hand, the same hand that swatted mine off her shoulder on that Sunday morning, and I say, you wanted me to stop reaching. I stopped. I pick up my keys. Walk to the door. She says my name once. I keep walking. Drive to the library. Sit in my chair in the quiet section. Breathe. Monday morning. Coffee shop, 2 blocks from the house. My phone buzzes, Stacy, 3 times. I let it ring. She opened the envelope. Inside, the petition, the financial disclosures, and the exhibits. Her own apartment listings, printed with search dates. The savings transfers. The browser screenshots. Her exit plan, documented and notarized, used as evidence. She texts, we need to talk. Please. Then, 20 minutes later, I called Taylor. He didn't pick up either. I read that twice. Taylor didn't pick up. The man who was always available, always there with tools and tickets and that hand on her lower back. The second it got real, the second there were papers and consequences, Taylor Adams disappeared. Because he was never really there. He was there for the version of Stacy that came without complications. I put my phone down. Order another coffee. The shop has the news on. Something about trade negotiations and tariffs. The barista's wiping down the counter. Outside, April is doing its thing, cold and gray and hanging on, the way Ohio winters do when they're not ready to let go. Randy calls that afternoon. Doesn't ask how the filing went. Just says, you eating? Yeah. You sleeping? Getting there. Good. Come watch the game Saturday. Bring nothing. Say nothing. Just show up. Yeah. Okay. I sit with my coffee in the quiet shop. I'm not angry. I'm not relieved. Somewhere between, this clean, open emptiness, like a room after the furniture's been moved. It echoes. But it's mine. She called my touch emotional pressure. Turns out I was the only one in that marriage still reaching. I still reach for people. I just make sure they want to be reached for first. Dear listeners, that's our ending. If it resonated, subscribe to support the channel. See you next time.